It is a depiction and an exploration of kind of like the male experience with mental health and also issues within your life, and how, particularly with men, we never quite directly address the problems in our lives. We'll often kind of skirt around the edge or wait until like a crucial breaking point where there's no other choice to. But it's also a depiction of male friendship, and how usually when conversations like these need to take place, we often kind of get sidetracked, and the lanes kind of change just by the kind of interactions that we have with friends. You could be trying to have a serious conversation and someone's trying to get under your skin, and then you kind of go off on a tangent, and then you have to come full circle back around.
The show I went to go see that you guys did last year, just remind me of the name on that one. Sessions, yeah, and it's a really, the writing was very naturalistic. It was two characters kind of, one was a support worker, if I remember correctly, and this young man who is going into support. So very topical work that you guys are working on, and definitely it seems like a similar theme here, that kind of depictions of male mental health and trying to get young men to open up, and why is it that there's that block? Am I right in kind of saying that?
Last year was absolutely incredible. We will be going again this year as well, but last year we had really great audiences, really, really lovely reception, and some great conversations with them when they were leaving. But we also walked away with the Best New Writing Award for Sam, because that was his debut play.
Fantastic,
and,
well done.
You know, not putting anything into the universe, but perhaps we could escape with something this year as well, but we'll see.
We'll have to see. I mean, Manchester Fringe is a great one for awards. They've got all sorts going on, so we'll have to see whether or not your names get called out at the end of it. But I mean, for anyone listening in today, winning an award at a Fringe festival is quite an exciting thing. I mean, Fringe festivals are just full of so many different pieces of work, so big congratulations on you for getting an award last year.
We were pretty shocked, I think, because we saw quite a lot of excellent work while we were there, and we were in very, very good company, obviously, especially with yourself.
Thank you.
Because we saw you in the show there as well, and we loved it. And so it was just, we appreciate being part of that community and being honoured amongst that kind of group of artists.
I was quite chuffed just to see that there was a nomination.
Yeah,
I think it was like, I was like, okay, I can be quite happy about that. Like, if it's in consideration for me, that was like awesome, fantastic.
It feels good with Fringe, doesn't it? Yeah, because you're building so much of it from yourself. It's not like commercial theatre where you kind of get in and you're being paid from the get-go or whatever. You don't know how it's going to be received with Fringe theatre. So
especially when it's a piece that's quite personal, it's like a piece that you put a lot of time into, and it can be as, if not more, exposing than like kind of being on the stage itself, isn't it? Because I think there's like a lot of truth that kind of comes through with, especially writing about a topic that you feel passionate about or you've experienced, or there's something that's taken like a grave interest in your mind.
So with Overwhelm, talk us through how that kind of developed, where this story came from.
Oh, goodness. We were sort of talking to the folks that there's a theatre in London called the Lion and Unicorn, wonderful little theatre if you're ever there. And we are associate artists there now because they saw Sessions and really loved what we did and wanted to support our work further. And then they brought us in after Edinburgh Fringe last year and said, what's next? And I had this idea sort of in my head because of some stories about being a young man that Sam had told me. And I think that we're meeting a moment right now where lots and lots of young men are being influenced by a number of sources around them. And not only is it, the way they're socialized not to really talk about the way that they feel about things, but then they've got all these influences online now that are telling them that masculinity is tumbled down this tunnel or what have you, and that men are being feminized. And all this influence is just sort of packing in on them, and we're not really addressing it very well. And so we wanted to sort of explore that concept and how a lot of these young men who fall down these pits, as it were, there's a set of reasons that happens, and that we need to meet them with empathy rather than just treating them as though they're lost or ridiculous or hopeless. And so that was what we sort of hoped to explore. And then I started writing it as initially a one-man show, and then it turned into a two-hander. And now it's 3, and that's where it's going to stay, I swear.
Have you performed it yet, or is this its first?
Once. We've performed it once before.
So there is a chance that you'll come away from Manchester Fringe Festival in a few weeks' time thinking, no, we need a 4th character.
Now I need a 4th character. No. We'll stick at the 3. We'll be fine with the 3.
This is how worlds are built, isn't it?
Yeah.
All the great stars, always like 2 characters, and then before you know it, you've got an entire armada of characters.
Full
and
jazz ensemble, yeah.
No, once we hit the 3, it did really start to just roll out of me, and it was a really interesting experience as well, because it's primarily written about your childhood experience, or inspired really by your childhood experience being a lad in the Midlands. And so it's written in like a Midlands vernacular, even though I'm American.
Yeah, no, it's quite an impressive feat, to be fair.
I think the great honor of the whole thing was when we had actors come in for auditions. We had somebody who was from Hinckley, which is near where Sam is from.
Yeah, like just outside of.
And he said, I was reading the script, and it was just so great because I could tell somebody from the Midlands had written it. And I think I almost cried out of happiness and pride. I was like, that's the best compliment you could possibly give me.
You cried out happiness and pride. The guy kind of like cried internally out of like embarrassment.
Because he thought you'd written it.
Because he thought that I'd written it. And I kind of just went,
well, that's
that one.
That just goes to show that the collaborative energy. I mean, I can tell just talking with you guys that you've obviously got this great like collaborative relationship and dynamic going on. It must have been strange for you, Sam, to have a play that's not being written by you but is somewhat based off your experiences. How does that feel for you?
I think it's a little bit bizarre, but I think ultimately with it, because the kind of experiences are quite universal, or that like maybe not everyone experienced it, but you will know someone who has been like deeply affected by it, or a family member has experienced this. There's like all these kind of things that I think, especially for like a lot of post-industrial towns and cities that have kind of seen a slump in kind of employment and living standards and just overall kind of like, I mean, especially housing as well. Not to say that they are the only places in this wonderful little country that are being affected, but it's nice to be able to distance myself from the character, but also kind of have the kind of source within us.
And am I right in saying that you are one of the actors in the piece? You are one of the actors. Was he the original when it was going to be a one-piece Stacey, one-person piece? Was it originally just going to be Sam? And then... I
did have him in mind, but I'm glad that we got to sort of expand that and take on a couple of like younger actors who are just at the beginnings of their careers.
Young great actors.
They're oh my god, they're excellent.
It's quite like I remember going into the rehearsal room for the first time, and I was the only unagented actor, and I was just literally like, oh my god, these guys are good. These guys are good.
It's like, oh god, what am I up against?
I was like, am I just going to look bad by proxy?
No, I'm sure that won't be the case.
It was quite wonderful, actually, the kind of chemistry that was built quite instantaneously. We found topics that we all kind of just immediately riffed off of.
Yeah, we all get along really, really well, and
surprisingly so as well.
And we check in on each other because it is quite heavy content that we're dealing with, and our first priority is always take care of our actors, make sure that they're doing well and they're taking care of themselves, and that they feel they can come to us if they're having a tough time.
Yeah.